Hello, good morning, relatives. I'm so happy to be here again with my sisters and partners in crime and just creating our dreams and our visions and creating beauty with Luna Soul Sanctuary. Luna Soul Sanctuary is a nonprofit that was founded to support us in providing and creating and delivering services that are connected with and represent with Indigenous ways of knowing earth medicine, um, natural medicines to support our wellness, our healing, and that every person can have access to that information, regardless of status. And so I'm the president of the organization, and my name is Dr. Luna, and we have Dr. Grayshield, she's the vice president, and then Dr. Begay is our secretary. And so today, this is our second meeting talking about the 7 healing states. Well, we're starting with 7 healing states that Dr. Grayshield wrote up in a paper that's being published. And as we continue this dialogue, we were thinking that there's actually 9 healing states. So we're hoping to bring those forward through this conversation. And today's topic is Earth is the source of all food and medicine. So I just wanted to introduce that a little bit, and then I'd like to offer space for Dr. Grayshield to talk more about what she was thinking about and what that means so that we can start this dialogue today. Thank you so much for being here. Take it away, Dr. Grayshield.
Okay, so today we're talking about the earth is the source of all food and medicine. It's just such a huge topic, so maybe I can just introduce it and then we can all say some things about it. But you know, and at the end of every discipline that we have in, you know, I suppose in the world, it brings us back to preparing a place for our future generations and living in the world as if we are there today. So hold on. I'm having a little bit of challenges with the mute. So, or with my, I'm going to defer it back over to you, Lauda, so I can figure out this microphone. Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so you're scrolling down to our description. Hi, Rasa.
All right, Lisa, did you want to talk about this?
Yeah. Maybe you can go ahead and read that section for us, and then we can talk about that.
Okay. So Earth is the source of all food and medicine. So this is from Dr. Grayshield's paper that she wrote that's in process of being published right now. So central to our health is access to clean water and a return to our traditional foods and plant medicines. We have enough information to ascertain the importance of avoiding white flour, cane sugar, processed and packaged foods, and rancid oils. A return to an indigenous diet in today's modern society requires much intention and education, but it can be done, and intentional communities are popping up everywhere where growing and wildcrafting food and medicines is central to a healthful life. Food sovereignty programs are the wave of the future and will soon be regarded as the primary avenue to true sovereignty for tribal communities all over the world. Since time immemorial, plants have been the backbone of traditional systems of healing and have additionally been an integral part of indigenous cultures throughout the globe. Plants have a long history of providing medicine, from the simplest forms of teas for relaxing, such as chamomile, to powerful hallucinogenic master teachers such as peyote and ayahuasca. Plants are well known for teaching visionary knowledge, others for building power and energy in the body, others yet for cleansing, releasing, and opening. The teachings of the plants are both powerful and subtle at the same time. They instruct at the most primordial cellular level. Indigenous medicine people and shamans have gained insights from ingesting plant medicines for thousands of years in the form of dreams, visions, and increased perception and awareness. Plants are the world's most abundant resource, and environmental preservation endeavors are critical in this age of destruction and mass elimination of the world's natural resources.
Well, that about sums it up. And I think some of the only thing that I could really add to that is my journey into the understanding that the earth is the source of all food and medicine. While I know that as an
Your audio went out again, Lisa. Can't hear you. Lisa, we can't hear you. I still can't hear you.
wow,
I
There
can
you
hear
are.
you.
I
There
don't
you
know.
are.
Can you hear me?
Now, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially, that little definition sums up the importance of the earth is the source of all food and medicine. When we think of the earth, we're thinking about that, the element of the solid element, the things that we're made of. My journey into understanding the reciprocal relationship that I have as an Indigenous person, while I had that philosophically, I've still had to reteach myself and relearn how to make those connections with respect to the way that I live my life every day. The life on a daily basis. Hi, Rasa. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining us. It's good to practice every day our understanding of what that reciprocal relationship looks like. So the first and the easy, I wouldn't say the easiest, probably the most challenging endeavor in the healing process is that physical domain, especially in this Western world that we live in right now, with the way that we're being socialized and the types of food and resources that are available to us. I had to relearn about what was healthy, what was good eating. I wasn't necessarily taught that because I was socialized into going to the grocery store. First, we started out with commodity foods. And, we can see the end result of commodity foods on Indian reservations. It's pretty rampant, the high incidence of diabetes and high blood pressure and obesity and heart disease and all of these things that come along with the way that we have denatured the foods. So when we talk about the earth as the source of all food and medicines, there's a lot of applications to that, but one of the most simplest or to understand, but most difficult to change is the relationship that we have with the things that we're putting in our body. and understanding that those things that come from the earth, they have to be packaged and processed and transported and sold and then unpackaged and all of those things, then we've probably denatured them to the point that their nutritional value is not what it was intended to be. So when we return to our understanding that the earth truly is the source of all food and medicine, and we stop denaturing the things that we put into our body, then that absolutely assists with our relationship to the earth and our relationship to ourselves and our physical organic being, which is critical because it houses our soul, it houses our spirit. It's the vehicle that we're moving in. So it's I'm not a Christian per se, but I do like the idea of understanding that our body is a temple. It's the vessel that we move in, and the way that we take care of our body truly is the way that we're taking care of the earth. And so when we utilize the resources and we use them with consciousness, we are feeding our spirit and our ability to hear spirit in the world and in the natural environment. Spirit is in everything. We all know that. And so even when we're ingesting plants or ingesting animals or any of those things that we're eating, whatever it is that that we adhere to with respect to the way we eat, whether we're a vegan or whether we're this, I've researched and put some study into all those different kinds of diet: keto, vegetarian, vegan, paleo, all these diets that come in. And really, at the end of the day, at the end of the knowledge is the understanding that we're organic beings, and that when we recognize that we come from the earth, that whatever we eat, whatever we put in our body is it's either going to help our body to thrive, or it's going to our body's going to have to work to get that out. So it's important for us to pray for our food, to pray for our water, pray for the food that grows, to talk to our food, to understand that it's a living being just like us, and that in that reciprocal relationship, we can move in such a way that we don't leave such a huge footprint, and that we can be an example for how we're to live into the future. There's so much to say about this topic, so I'm just going to leave it right there for right now, and then maybe I can wrap up something in a little bit. But the earth is the source of all food and medicine, and the understanding of that reciprocal relationship it's a spiritual quest. It has been a spiritual quest for me. So thank you. Turn that.
Yes, thank you, Lisa. I think there's so many things that you really tapped into and that resonate, and we're the best examples of our own. It's like we mirror, right, how we're treating the earth with our bodies. It's like our body is showing us how we're connected to the earth or disconnected with the earth. And as you were talking, one of the things that popped up, because I've been thinking about this so much with just food and the earth, and just how challenging it is for people to really shift their diets and really access the foods that are not packaged, that are not processed. And our society's addiction to all the processed things are so I don't know, that's just what I was thinking about, but I want to open it up to others who have some comments. If anybody wants to share their thoughts right now.
Thank you for sharing, guys. Um, I'm just going to talk on my behalf what I've experienced with plant medicine. And there's very little understanding about the intelligence of plants as being a five-finger individual with a special spirit that was given to us I think that the plants
I can't hear you. Can everybody hear Marilyn? Oh,
this
there you
is
are.
a huh?
I lost you for a second.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that um, your bandwidth, it says it's low. That's why it's cutting in and out. But so like we're in the age of self-destruction. We have a lot of distractions. Just like mm, going on air like this, being on the media, being on Facebook, being on just I think it does some things to our mind. Um, even like carrying cell phones around or being near screens, it messes up our frequencies and it causes it has some type of radiation too. So it does a lot if you spend a lot of time in front of the screen. That it does a lot to our own frequencies. So we had to balance it out. Like for me, I work 8 to 5, and I try really hard to stay off the internet, but that's part of our job. And sometimes in the evening, I am just exhausted, and then it seems like I put myself in this really bad cycle of and I think this is part of it. And one time, Lauda gave me a black rock. So you wear this every day. I think it neutralizes some of that. This so I think I need to put more neutralizing things around my computer. And I think that plants can help neutralize some of these extreme frequencies that are that's not good for us. So we sometimes we self-indulge too much, and I know for me, I carry my phone everywhere, and instead of knowing what's on the outside, I sometimes distance myself from plant medicine and hills and or Mother Earth. Um, Sometimes I forget to use the medicine from the mountains uh, to help me, and instead I use food to sustain me and make me feel better. And I think the frequencies also cause that too. Like it increases my need for food mentally, but physically, I don't really need much food because all I do is sit here all day long, and sometimes I get up, walk around, but I mean, I don't burn that much energy. So I'm trying to learn how to balance that. I've but some of the foods that we grew up with is not really healthy, but sometimes it's kind of like soul food. Um, Kind of like fried bread and all that stuff, tortillas, potatoes, ground beef, um, bacon, things that we grew up with. Sometimes our body misses it, so I try not to use it all the time. Um, Maybe once a week or twice a week, on sometimes usually on weekends. But this morning I gave in. I bought me a couple burritos. Lisa. So, I mean, I feel kind of guilty eating it. But
Marilyn.
they had chili in it, so that's good. It was hot, you know, which is good because I'm just barely biting into it and it's burning my mouth. But it
It's cutting out again. I don't know if anybody else can't hear you, but oh, came back.
Mr. Fire, I not burn, but the eucalyptus helps me with my allergies. But this rosemary, when I put it on, it helps me with my energy level too. It kind of wakes me up. But I realized that, and then the green superfood helps me too, to get me energized and to think more, help me think more. So I think we're in the age of where we have to think more, do more, because we have the access to many things. So like I'm teaching online, and without the computer, I won't be able to do that. But that just means spending more time on the computer. So I have to learn how to get away from the closeness to the monitor and to the computer itself. So in our way, when you get close to, there's ceremonies for it, and that this electricity is not good for us. The light from the rooms, the fake lights, um, and also like gadgets, like computer gadgets, they're not good for us. It's not good for our spirit. There's actually like ceremonies for that, and it causes damage to the nerves. It causes damage to like just your vibration, and pretty soon your legs are going to start feeling stiff and swollen. So, hold on. Hello, it's Marilyn.
Go for it, Rasa. Give us some of your thoughts. What are you thinking?
Oh man, I'm just resonating with everything that Dr. Marilyn is speaking of. I've had my own personal battle with technology, between giving thanks for how it connects me with so many, and at the same time how it takes away from I think my mental and emotional bodies as well as my physical. And I'm just really, really looking at myself as she's speaking, asking some curious questions that I'll have to journal about. But I do think shungite is really a potent tool to use, as well as maybe some selenite if you're near a computer. Well, I have a lot of thoughts. Right now, I'm healing a lot of grief that I've been storing up for my whole life, and I'm doing it by wearing. Part of it is by wearing all black. I've worn all black for the last 4 days, really, really leaning in and in towards the violence that's happening in Ukraine and throughout the world, and the violence that happens within me and how I speak to myself. And so, yeah, just really moving through grief, through radical expression, through acknowledging the dark, and praying for peace and meditating on peace. And then doing what I can to enjoy this present moment, being grateful for right now, because there's so much suffering going in the world. I mean, yesterday I was led to do this this meditation, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's a Buddhist meditation of compassion, I believe, where you breathe in like the pain of the world, and then you hold it, and then exhale love or compassion or empathy or whatever the vibration is. So I did that yesterday at the beach. We were on this beautiful sandy beach in Washington. And yeah, it felt potent, like at least I could direct in that moment my thoughts towards something good for the world. And that felt really empowering. But yeah, with that, I am complete.
Rasa, I just want to say thank you. I know that, it was so good to see you when I saw you just a couple of weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I can't remember because time gets away, up in Silver City. And, even as you're going through it and traveling around with your babies and finding that inner strength, I just want to encourage you, in what you're going through as a young mama and as a conscious being on this earth, trying to figure out life for yourself. So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for sharing that and those thoughts too. You're at that mama stage of life, that stage where you're concerned about what's going to happen to your children, and it's like, I've been there and I know what that feels like. I know how scared we can be as we're trying to figure out how to navigate this world in this structure that we have today, where you have to have a job and you have to have, we don't have the communities where we can just go and absorb ourselves into beautiful community and cry and feel that love, that you're traveling around and you're trying to piece that together for yourself. And so that strength that that you have inside. And I know that you're also aware of the things that you put in your body. I know that you have a very intimate knowledge of what's good for you and what you need to have in there, and also the things that have not served. And so I just, it's like, if there's one thing that we can do, it's working really hard at trying to provide that environment, that safe environment for our children. And, you with your young children right now. So I just want to, extend some prayers and some love to you for your journey, as you move through this, and strength as a woman. You are such a beautiful, strong woman. You present that way. And I know inside sometimes you're just falling apart. But those children require that you stand strong, and they become our teachers. And I see that you have those beautiful teachers in your life to keep you going and to keep you strong and to keep you reaching out when you need to, and doing the things that you need to. Things will work out for you. They're working out for you right now. The fact that you're even here with us in the sister circle, so we can pray for you and we can embrace you and we can love you too. I just want to say that much to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa, for expressing that. And I really appreciate your heart. And Rasa, hang in there, sister. And I know it's hard to grieve, and may the Creator be with you. Uh, and thank you for being with us too. You shed some light into our little group here. But I put some information on the chat, so.
And I also want to say thank you, Rasa, for being here and joining. And it keeps saying my internet is unstable, so I'm sorry. It's just the location where I'm at. It's a little bit rural, so the Wi-Fi goes unstable sometimes. But yeah, I just really appreciate your presence. And like we were messaging last night, and it's like waiting for the world to catch up on what we envision, like, because I think you're a visionary, and we're all visionaries here, and we want to see the world doing the things to take care of each other, where we can actually support each other. That's what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to be in community and help each other, and and yet we're not really doing that, and that's so painful for us. You know, we need each other to thrive. We need each other to thrive, because one of us has something that another one doesn't have, and one of us has something to share that another one doesn't have. So when we're doing all of that together, and when we're sharing our gifts with each other, we have everything that we need. You know, we're not out there struggling on our own. And and I just really appreciate what you're doing, Rasa, with your children. And when you were here in my home, it was like, you know, little magic with your babies. And it's a lot, you know, it's a lot when we look around and we see all the destruction that we're doing. We're destroying the planet, we're destroying ourselves, and we want to see a world where we can be there for each other, where we can, you know, plant a garden, grow a garden, and be there for each other. So I'm just really grateful to have you here, and really grateful for this conversation to really reflect on who we are, you know, as sisters, as humans, as two-leggeds on this planet, that we remember why we're really here. Um, yeah, so I'll just say that much, and it's open for anybody to share.
I think it's pretty, you know, like we're talking about our physical being, we're talking about that earth element. And there's that little guy. And so, you know, it's the way that we take care of ourselves and the way that we're moving in the world. Sometimes I feel like, you know, it's like I look at mamas like Rasa, and I want to say, Mama, I'm so sorry that this world does not provide for you the space, always the safety for your children. You know, I feel that deep in my heart as you move through this world, you know, and so I just, you know, pray that all the good food and all the good ceremony and everything that you're seeking for your life come through. You know, when I think about Luna Yiso Sanctuary and the vision that Lauda had when she started this, you know, this nonprofit, you know, was a place so that we could provide spaces. You know, maybe it's a virtual space right now, you know, but it is our vision and our goal to have those physical spaces as well, you know, where people can, where you can come and you can feel safe, you know, where we can grow a garden, where we can have ceremony, where we don't have to pay somebody so that we can stay there, you know, but that we can come and we can live free the way that we were intended to. You know, it's a lot of work to do that, as I see Gabrielle and Bayou working really hard, you know, and all the things that have grown up around them as they've, you know, worked this life. You know, it's not all that easy, and we need lots of those spaces so that we can find where it is that we go. So, you know, we're talking about the earth as the source of all food and medicine. And that's the one thing we all have in common right now, is that we're all standing on this earth. You know, we all have that energy that's coming up through us, and that connects us. And so, you know, I just, you know, in some ways I want to apologize that the world has gone in such a way that our mamas have to struggle to find a safe space for their children and a safe space to be. And so I want to put those prayers too for Luna Yiso Sanctuary as we move forward, and the vision and the goals and the dreams that we have to have those spaces ourselves, and to be able to provide those spaces for people to be and for us to be. You know, I can see that we would have one space for internet so we can continue to reach out, but we would also have that space where we can be outside and the children can be running and playing, and we're not worried about them being in the street, or we're not worried about some stranger coming up, and, you know, but where they feel safe and nurtured. So, you know, I just want to say that much. That's the vision. That's where we're moving towards, is that space of love and acceptance. And which is the earth element. You know, as physical beings, we have needs. You know, as spirit beings, we fly free and we have that connection. But as physical beings, we have those needs that need to be grounded, that need to feel love, that need for community to be around us. And so I just, Rasa, I just really, your medicine right here, right today for us is showing up. And I just want to thank you for that medicine, because it reminds us why we do this work. So
My experience with plants have started happening back in um, when I was at in San Diego County, up in Torrey Pines, when I used to live on campus at UCSD. I used to walk through this wooded area to get to the campus, and I every morning I used to get up and pray and walk the campus, and that was kind of like a source of strength for me, was feeling the air and the trees moving, and like just hearing the rustling of nature. To this day I still do that. I love to drive to the mountains and just take some time out. um, like Lisa said, we get so busy with things, sometimes we forget, but I think once a month, it's been like once a month for me, because I've been pretty busy. um, but I know I need to get back on the ball now that summer's here, and I need to get back into hiking.
Lost you for a second, Marilyn.
I'm like really like not happy with my weight. I'm back to wearing size 18 comfortably. It's just my waist. I don't know why it gets big. I think part of that is age, and because I sit all day. Mm, but mm, sometimes like grief and going to like funerals can really put you down. But when you hit bottom, you realize, hey, wait a minute, I'm still here, and I still need to come live, and take care of myself. It takes time after, grieving for, since my aunt died like 2 months. Um, During that time, I hurt my knee, and I did something else to my body, and I just went out of balance. And now I'm like, wait a minute, I need to really watch myself. Um, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. There's still a lot of work that is out there, um, and we just have to continue this journey the best way that we know how. That we don't really, in our culture, we don't really need to be happy all the time, as long as we walk a good life. And walking a good life is, for us, is to help people, and to make sure that, well, I was kind of challenged with that this weekend, um, and for so long I've been praying for, you know, I'm envisioning this place as a center, and right along the cliffs, and it's going to be for children and women that are abused, or that need help. Just a place for women to go to and bring their kids, you know, and to nourish their kids, and they don't have to work, because there's going to be food there. they don't have to pay rent, and I was envisioning in that
You froze, Marilyn. Can you hear?
um,
Oh,
I had a lady um, and a little boy in my house, like he's 4 years old, and I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, whoa, wait a minute, where did this come from? And then this morning, I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I prayed for this, to help women and children. So I have a couple people in my house that they don't look like they need help, but she's got no job, no she didn't finish high school, um, so no car. Um, it's like I think the mom is there. I think the mom is living in Gallup, but I'm not sure if she has a car. But I really would like to get a car for her so that she can take her son around, and maybe she can go back to school or something. But anyways, I just wanted to bring that out. Back to you, Lauda.
I was gonna hand it back to Lisa. This weekend I was in a sweat lodge, and had a lot of ladies here that elder women, and elder women that are you know walking through life and having gone through raising their children, and um, seeing their children grow up, and seeing their children also be really disrespectful to them. And it's like I have so many thoughts about that, but it's just interesting, because women spend their whole lives raising their children and doing everything that they can for them, doing the best that they can for them. And sometimes those children, for whatever reason, are not reciprocating the care that they were given by the mothers, or maybe they are, maybe part of it is karma, that was built up maybe in this lifetime or in previous lifetimes. But one of the women in the sweat that really needed the sweat, um, her son, 28 or 30 years old, died. He died from he had a heart condition that he was born with. And so recently he just passed away. And then I guess her husband passed away too. So, she's already in her 60s, and her daughters are not helping her. They're refusing to help her at all. And she's in a walker. It was really hard for her to get down on the ground, and she did it because she knew that she needed the prayers, and she went through with it. She also has metal in her, she has hips, metal in her hips, and she has metal in her head. So that was, concerning too, with going into sweat lodge and the condition that she was in. And then when she had to get out, then I realized that she also has diabetes, so her blood sugar dropped. And so there's a lot of things that happened there. but one of the biggest things that I felt in the sweat with her was that her heart was in pieces. Her heart was just in shambles, completely broken apart from all the losses that she had experienced, and then not being supported by her adult daughters. And so, she came out of the lodge really, really weak. But she also had the opportunity to cry and to release and to shed away all of that pain. Well, I don't know about all the pain, but a lot of the pain that she was experiencing. And I guess I connect that too with what you're experiencing right now, Rasa, with the grief. And then I connect that too with the grief that Mother Earth is expressing too, by our lack of connection and our lack of care and our lack of being able to really be those stewards of the land that we are meant to be. And so I just see all those connections, and um, all that sadness that this mother had been experiencing, so much so that she has been suicidal, actually wanting to kill herself. And it's like that's a whole nother big topic, because so many youth are experiencing these kinds of thoughts of suicide. And it's really scary, and really shows the place that we're at right now on the planet, that our youth are feeling this way, that our youth are feeling so disconnected from themselves, from their families, from the earth, that is what they're thinking about, that they're thinking about ending their life. And so I guess for me, it just highlights how much work we have to do, how how much work there still is to do. Because why are people feeling this way? Why are people experiencing this level of pain? And I understand, I understand the disconnect, like feeling just completely disconnected from everything and everyone. And how do we come back around to build communities and to connect and to support our youth, so that they can feel like they are a part of something, like that they belong, that they have value, that they can bring something to the table. Um, yeah, so I was just, really thinking about that. And just for me, it's always been coming back to the fire, coming back to the earth. That's for me the most powerful healing. For me is coming back to the most basic things, just sitting by the fire, just sitting on the ground. And when I do that, that's when I feel better. So I'll just say that much and open it back up again.
Was she able to sit in the lodge all 4 rounds?
Yeah, I only did 2 rounds. We did 2 rounds for the women and 2 rounds for the men. And yeah, she did. She got in there. Yep. It was hard. It was really hard for her, but she did it.
I'm
But
glad
once
you were there to do that, and to pour water for the ladies there. Um, that's really awesome, Laura. I'm happy to see that, uh, that that you were able to help people like that, to get in touch with their with their not their identity and their spirituality, um, and that you provided that space for them. That's awesome. It gives me a lot of hope, and it helps me too. That you do that. Mm-hmm. you've grown so much, and I really cherish that from the time I first met you to now, and what you're doing. I really appreciate that of you, the way things are turning out for you. Uh, you're young, and sometimes you don't really know what to do, but kind of just leave it to the Creator, and then how it will help them, and how the Creator will guide things for them. But you were there to sit and provide that sacred space for them, uh, for the elderlies, and it's really something to see, that how our elders always used to say, we have our kids, and we cherish our kids because when they grow up, they will going to come around and help the community, and to me, that's what happened, and it's the way it's supposed to be, and you probably listen to the Creator, so that's why they're coming around, starting to come around. Thank you for that, for providing that space, Lauda.
Well, I was just reminded at the beginning of the talk, as we were gearing up for talking about the earth is the source of all food and medicine. And then we come back to talking about, some of the things that we've gone through and the challenges and how we take care of ourselves. And, one of the ways that, I really began to understand as as a researcher and counseling psychologist, as somebody who's supposed to know about these things, I realized that I didn't know anything from academia or that I had learned as a counseling psychologist, that I had to go back to the very basic knowing that I learned as a child, that the source of our healing is the earth. It's not about diagnosis and treatment and talk therapy. Those things can be helpful in small doses, but healing, that's about our own reconnection. And our therapy comes with plants and ceremony, the time that we spend with plants and and the ceremonies where we can release and we remind ourselves, just like in a sweat lodge, when we're crawling on the earth, on the ground, into that lodge, and then putting those rocks down, and that fire that heats up those rocks, and the water that we're putting on them to bring that steam up, so we say those prayers. So the remembering that plants and ceremony are where our healing takes place, in those quiet moments that we have with ourselves. It's to turn off the technology. We talked a little bit about that technology, and I was thinking, I had this journey where I had a vision at one point, and it was about, I went through my whole vibrational experience as a human being, all of my life. It's like I went through this whole tunnel of experiencing all of those emotions and feelings, and I was blasted out of my mama's womb into the universe, and I just saw everything happening as it was forming. And then at the end, I ended up in this kind of empty space that looked very techno, with a lot of little cubicles and cubes of colors that were just making all these computer sounds like, and I was sitting in this space thinking, what is this? Is this it? Is this where life begins? Is this what it's all about? And it was so empty, and there was nothing. There was not even a feeling, not even an emotion. And then I was able to, as my journey was coming to an end, I was able to bring myself into this place where it all began to, that technological little techno little things that I was seeing reorganize themselves, and went through a metamorphosis, a transformation into nature, into the natural environment. And I woke up and I saw the trees, and I felt the earth beneath me, and I knew that, the space that I was in, that this was what life is all about. It's about the beauty of the earth. It's about the trees. It's about walking in the forest, about the cleansing of the water and the feeling the wind in our face and all of those things, that this is life, that we get an opportunity to live this life. So the opposite of nature is technology. And so while we need technology as a tool, especially in today's world with everything that's gone on, we also need to recognize that it is just that, it is only a tool. And that when that sun goes down, we want that melanin to continue to work in our mind. So we need to shut that off, shut that technology off, and just be with ourselves and make that a priority, knowing and understanding that technology, it can be used as a tool, but when it takes up the majority of our day and the majority of our time, then we begin to lose that reconnection. So
I'm not hearing you.
think,
There it is.
so yeah, I just want to say that much then, it's important for us to get outside. My friend Shay talks incessantly about the importance of being in the sun and how we can only get those omega-3s, we get the omega-6s from our foods, and we think we're getting omega-3s, but we're not getting them. We can only get them. They only come through the sun. And those omega-3s are absolutely critical for the building blocks. Now, that's his scientific explanation, but we know this. We know that the sun is the source of life, of light. And so we need to be out there in the sun. We're not going to get that from any other way. So
Yes, totally in agreement with that we need to step outside and get sun. And it's the other thing that I was really thinking about with these ladies that came and everything that they're going through and everything that they've been through, it's some of the problems too are really, for me, connected to colonization and Christianization and Catholicism, and this idea that we are not part of the land. I really feel like in a lot of ways, the teachings, the way that Christianity is taught. I mean, I was raised Catholic, so I I remember having a lot of questions about why certain things were done the way that they were done, but there's again that disconnect from the land. It's like we are so cut off from the land, and Christianity, to me, at least in the way that I learned it, was also a disconnection from the land, a disconnection from ourselves. And for me to see these elder ladies, and and they're all native from different parts of Mexico or Central America, South America. They're native and they look native, they are native, but they don't think of themselves that way. They don't think about how connected they are, how important it is for them to connect with the land and to put their feet on the ground and to go outside and get some sun. So many people are dealing with depression and anxiety. And then when I ask them, well, have you stepped outside? No, I haven't gone outside in days. And they're just in front of the computer. You have your phone, you have your Zoom meetings, you have everything is looking at the screen, and this light, like we're all talking about, it's not healthy. And then we don't even go outside, and then we wonder why we're depressed. We wonder why we're suicidal. Why are we thinking those kinds of negative thoughts? Because we're not we're not putting our feet on the earth. We're not connecting with the solar energy. We're not allowing ourselves to receive the information from the sun that is needed for us to grow and cleanse and heal. And then we're not eating proper foods, eating a lot of sugar and carbohydrates. In Mexico, the Coca-Cola company has won. I mean, people drink Coca-Cola instead of water. breakfast is a Coca-Cola and a piece of bread. You know, part of it is it's cheap, it's available, it's easier to get than water. A Coca-Cola is easier to get than water. And so that's what people have. And, you know, and these big companies are really good at spending billions of dollars on advertising and marketing so that people believe that that's healthy. But, you know, in Mexico, I'm starting to do a little bit of research that, you know, diabetes is skyrocketing in Mexico, and why Coca-Cola is doing really good with their marketing schemes. And then when I was, it's been a while since I went to South America, but you know, the same thing's happening there. These companies are bringing in these kinds of packaged foods and processed foods. So I think we're going to start to see what we went through here in North America with Indigenous peoples. We're going to start to see it in South America even more so, as these companies just take over and technology takes over, and these earth medicines are going to be more and more sought out for. And I lit some copal because I just was feeling like we needed to help these prayers and our thoughts just move in this smoke. So that's what I'm burning right here. Lisa, any thoughts or comments?
I'm just really grateful for, you know, the talk and even the reminder myself. My friend Art and he's got this big old huge backyard, and I went and I looked in his big backyard the other day. I saw his place for the first time, and he had this big huge thing of plastic grass that he was going to roll out onto this ground. And, you know, I was looking at that plastic grass, and I had this feeling that I was being suffocated, you know, that I was just, you know, like, and anyway, I had to leave his place. I needed to leave. I couldn't stay there. And so when we came back, you know, I realized that it was my feelings about being in, you know, about being a female, a woman, you know, not wanting to be suffocated, not wanting to be covered up, but just to be, you know, to be free, to be myself, to be on the earth. So, you know, I think that probably the best way, the last closing thoughts that I could have, you know, to offer is really just to take that time quietly. I mean, I could talk about food for days. You know, I can say this is springtime, so this is a good time for cleansing our livers and our bodies. So, you know, all those real heavy leafy greens are beginning to be more available, and it's a good time to go on a vegan fast, you know, for a little while, to give our liver a break. It's a good time to eat those raw foods and allow our systems to clear themselves right now, you know. But the best thing that I can think of too is, you know, is for us to go and sit down on the earth and talk to the earth, have a conversation, you know, have a prayer. And, you know, with our own bodies, our own beings, recognizing that we're a part of that, and saying what to do. You know, as I was sitting on that big bundle of, looking at that big roll of plastic grass, you know, and then also looking at the place where we're going to build a sweat lodge, and thinking about the dichotomy of those two things, you know, of the freedom of sitting on the earth the way that it is, or the way that we cover it all up, or the things that we use to cover ourselves up, you know, maybe our clothing or our makeup or whatever it is that we do, you know. So, you know, my only closing thought, the only thing that I can think of to say right now is to take that time to do just what you said, Laura, just to sit there on the earth and to clear our minds, and to remember that we're one. You know, when we bring ourselves into complete emptiness, you know, and then we're ready to hear and to listen to what those messages are for our lives and for the future. So thank you for having this. Thank you for having these talks, and, you know, thank you for bringing us together, and so that we can talk about things like this, you know, that the earth is the source of all food and medicine. And that thought is so profound, and we all have to explore what that means for ourselves. You know, what does that mean? The earth is the source of all food and medicine. For me, it means that, I don't want I want to put only things in my body that comes from the earth, that's not been denatured through the process of what we do. And that takes a lot of intention and a lot of education, especially for Indian people, for a lot of us, because we give thanks for what Creator provides. And Creator has provided food for us, and maybe in the source of commodity food, so that we could even survive. We could survive colonization and survive, the insults of the Western structure, and the change from an indigenous way of knowing how to live on the earth to living in a Western world, which is causing a lot of stress for a lot of us. And so returning to that very basic understanding. I love sweat lodges. I love that meditation of just sitting down on the earth. We know through scientific research, I'm glad science is catching up with indigenous knowledge at some level. We know that walking barefoot on the earth brings an energy up through our body that helps to ground us out. We know that we get minerals through our skin when we play in the dirt, we touch the dirt. So it's important for us to, to have that connection. And this is springtime. It's a time of awakening. And so, I've challenged myself with, with doing a cleanse this spring, like some of these hardcore cleanses, they're not necessarily for me, but I can see that, this is a time for the body to release so that we can prepare ourselves, for the summer and for the rest of the seasons. So thank you, Lauda. Food is, the earth is the source of all food and medicine. That's a deep and profound thought. And each of us has to explore what that means for ourselves as we move along. But so I just encourage us all to, to remember that, the earth as the mother of all, in our bodies. And no matter how many children we've had or haven't had, we're women, we're the life givers. We're the ones that have the compassion for the children of the future generations. So just want to say that much. Thank you.
Rosa, are you there? Did you want to share any last thoughts and words?
No, I'm just really grateful to be reminded of all these innate wisdoms. That I just really appreciate the codes that you all carry, and yeah, just grateful to sit in and listen. Thank you.
Marilyn, any thoughts, final thoughts, comments? Unmute yourself.
There we go. Yate, good afternoon, or good, still morning here. Yeah, thank you for this conversation. Just totally reminding me that I need to take care of my body and to hold it sacred too, and to really be strict with myself, and because I want to live a long, happy life. Happy in terms of needing to get the things done that I need to get done, and how the creator creates my path, and to live up to those standards. Um, just feeling good with you guys here, us talking together and looking at each other. It really brings me good feelings, that we teach ourselves in a good way. We understand each other, in a good way, and that we try to do our best, and that we hold each other up. We hold each other up as sisters, and even though we guys are far away, I'm glad we're able to come together like this and feel close to you again. Just knowing that, you know, we're still under the same stars and same sun and same moon, and that, you know, as the world turns, you know, somewhere, we leave it energy and then we pick it back up somewhere, and as it turns, you know, we're connected, and good thing that the earth turns, you know. Thank you.
As you were talking, Marilyn, I started remembering what time of the year it is right now, and when we had the sweat yesterday, I pulled out a crystal that I actually picked up from Michael Brown's house, Dr. Brown's home, and I put that crystal on my altar and my lodge altar. And we're getting to the 1 year anniversary of his passing, and I'm just being reminded of how we are. Our spirits are eternal. Our spirits will continue. Our souls will continue on another journey after this lifetime in this physical body, and so I just thinking about that, because we all found each other in this lifetime in this physical body, and just so grateful and appreciative to remember this connection that we have with each other, and that we traveled all this way, all the way that we traveled to get here, and that we can find each other, that we can find our like soul pieces, different parts, different places, and no matter where we are, that we're going to attract each other, because that's what we said that we were going to do that. We agreed to that, and then we did, and then we get to remember more of who we are by connecting with each other. And so I was just thinking about Michael, and wherever he's at, and that he's still with us, and that we still have pieces of us that are connected to him, and that we're going to continue to be connected to each other when we're not in this physical body anymore. So it just I guess that's my final thought, and just appreciating the connection that we have and the space that we hold together, and how we have been able to really support each other as sisters, and encourage each other and respect each other, and be able to share the good things and the not so good things with each other, that we are all of those things, and we're perfectly imperfect, and that we can have spaces where we can show all those parts of us and be okay, feel okay, like feel accepted. I don't have to try and be somebody else or something else. I can just be who I am, and that's okay. So that's my final thought, I guess, and that we're coming back to the earth to connect with each other, but really we're pieces of stars that came here to shine our light with each other, and so we're doing it. So I'm just really grateful for each of you. Thank you very much. Anybody else want to just say any last thought before we stop the recording? And our next meeting will be, I don't have my calendar in front of me right this second, but it will be the first Monday of May at the same time. So we'll be back here again to talk about the next topic.
The first Monday is May 2nd.
Okay.
Mhm.
So May 2nd at 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, we'll gather together for the next topic. Not sure what we said we were going to talk about next, but next on your paper, Lisa, is water is life. So you can just follow that. Water is life.
I wanted to make an announcement that I was asked to have a puberty ceremony at my Hogan the end of this month. So you guys are all invited and take a look at one of our ancient ceremonies and how it was done. But it's a community event, but they make a lot of offerings to the earth for the moon, to the earth, but it's for the moon, so that the girl can have, you know, successful menses through to carry on that. It's like a sacred way for them to carry on, and that the creator, the earth and the stars, they make those connections for them, um, so they can be blessed throughout their lives, throughout their childbirthing life with the kids.
Beautiful. Thank you, Marilyn. Is there anything else?
It's a
Okay, that the internet keeps going in and out. So I think with that, we'll go ahead and
days.
we're going to go ahead and close the meeting. So I'm going to stop recording. Thank you all so much for being here and for listening. I really appreciate you.